Okay, so we're back, Christine and I. We had so much fun talking about the skincare lines and all the resources that doTERRA offers for taking care of our cellular health from the inside out, removing toxins, and using personal care products that actually do us and our environment good. So yay for that. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, you can find it in our YouTube channel. We're going to look now at the Live Guide and at looking how we can have a little bit of a guide in creating our wellness plan. Because when we come to a point in our lives where we want to do better, maybe it's when our kids are little and we realize, gosh, everything we have in our home and put into our bodies are impacting these little bodies. Maybe it's when we get to a point in our lives where there's some kind of obstacle or physical challenge that has stopped us in our tracks, or we're just like, we don't want to keep going forward this way, and we don't want things to get worse. And when we're at that point, sometimes it can be really overwhelming of like, I've got to overhaul everything. I've got to get all the toxins out of my home. I've got to change my whole diet. I've got to exercise. I've got to reduce stress. And it's like, okay, and people shut down, right? And so what we want to do is show how by doing things step by step, by prioritizing, and by having a guide to support us in making these changes a little at a time, we can really create momentum, progress, and see and like come to several months from now and recognize that our lives are different in a positive way than they were before. And I know Christine in our last call shared how her skin is better now, feels better now than 6 years ago. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's pretty cool, especially for those of us moving towards 50 and beyond. You know, we really we hear that it's kind of all downhill. But you know what? When we know how to take care of ourselves, when we give our bodies what they need, it's remarkable what our bodies are able to do to break free from, to experience more vitality. And so we're here to help you and help ourselves continue to learn to live well. So let's get started. All right, so this is a Live Guide that you can download from doTERRA's website. You just type in their little search bar Live or Live Guide, and this will come up, and you can print it out or you can follow along and just take your own notes. Now, what I love about this is it supports us and empowers us to find our way to looking at the big building blocks that make up wellness in our lives. And doTERRA, and I know this is in holistic and in wellness circles, this is a pretty common paradigm of having this pyramid, because we have foundational things that if we're missing those building blocks, the whole building comes crashing down. So each one of these different pieces, I'm going to zoom in a little bit if I can here, has to do with our wellness. And let me see if I can move it over so you can see some of the products that they've pulled out as just a place to start. But what I love to do is invite people, and I do this myself. I go back through this pyramid, this stacking of our foundations of health, and I rate myself. Not to judge and beat myself up of things that I am not doing well, but where is the one linchpin that if I focus on this right now and change it, will up-level all of it. So I invite you, as Christine and I do, to just look over this list. We're starting at the base, eating right, giving our body the nutritional support that it needs to have healthy cell function, healthy brain function, and to just do what it's designed to do. So we can rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 in how well we nourish our bodies and give it what it needs. The next one is exercise, movement, getting things flowing, strengthening, all of that. Resting and managing stress, reducing that stress fight or flight thing, being able to get the sleep that our body needs to restore and heal. And being able to handle the little challenges and stresses that life throws at us. go ahead and rate yourself. The next one is reducing toxic load. That is all the pesticides, the chemicals, the things that maybe cleaning supplies, maybe pesticides on food, maybe it's in our personal care products. It certainly is in our environment around us, in buildings, in our cars, in the air around us. So by reducing as much as we can have control over, we can support our bodies to be able to clear out the things that we don't have control over in our environment. When we move beyond that, we're looking at informed self-care where we're targeting specific health challenges and using our tools and our resources to manage them and find solutions that are natural and work to support our body doing what it needs to clear out whatever that issue or challenge is. And finally, we want to recognize that by working with our doctors, our chiropractors, those other specialists who support us in our physical and our emotional wellness, we can be proactive. And instead of running into a brick wall and then having to rebuild our health, we can see little red flags early. We can learn how to care for ourselves more effectively, and we can avoid more of those like crash and burns in our lives. So, Chris, in looking over this, what is the one area that you think is kind of maybe lower on your scale of 1 to 10 that if you targeted that area and focused, you'd probably benefit your whole system?
Well, I would say that that yellow bar is kind of yelling at me that that's an area that I need to improve in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm very happy to say that I'm committed to doing yoga every Saturday. Their classes from Saturday to Sunday. I have no excuse now. None. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to say.
Anyway, so I'm working on it, but exercise definitely is an area where I need improvement.
Yeah. And I would say for myself, that's the same. You and I both have worked really hard to make changes in the nutrition we put in our bodies. We're using the Lifelong Vitality Pack down there to give our cells the nutrition that they need. Chris, would you give a teeny little plug, because I know that that's a newer piece that you've put in your system of what you've seen?
Sure. Yeah, I have a mental block, and I think a lot of people probably do, that people who take pills are sick. Sick people take pills. And so that has really kept me from using products that I've known for years are amazing. I've seen some truly incredible results from friends of mine, many of whom really have suffered for years, and now they're just saying that, this is something that is going to be for the rest of their lives. They're so excited to have found a product that helps them as much as just taking daily supplements. And I'm talking specifically about the 3 black bottles at the bottom, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. It includes the XE Omega, which is the omega complex. So that's a combination of both plant and marine fatty acids. And that is available in a vegan option for those of us who really like to have vegan or vegetarian options. My daughter uses that. So I purchased both for my family. But then the Alpha CRS Plus cellular vitality complex that has polyphenols in it, that has just amazing support for your whole body and your cellular health, cellular functions. And then we have the Microplex VMZ, which is a bioavailable food-based multivitamin supplement, and it has just all kinds of amazing things that have been very carefully selected by specialists who are top in their field globally in supplement and nutrition specialists. So I know that not only are the most excellent ingredients chosen, but the sourcing for that ingredients is top notch. We don't get the cheapest of this, that, or the other vitamin that should be in there. There isn't fairy dusting of things that don't really need to be in there so that the label looks great, or trying to push all those numbers up to 100%, because everybody's eating food and getting nutrients. So we only need what we need. And another really amazing thing that's unusual about our Lifelong Vitality Pack is that there's a different one for each market globally. So United States, Northern North America has one. Yes.
Just that we will and have done. We'll do a whole thing on the Lifelong Vitality Pack, but
Okay, so I won't talk too much about
don't
it.
talk too much about it because we want to save that for a whole nother call, because we're going to go through picking the different pieces. And these are amazing supplements, so we can totally like.
I could go on because I have been studying them for years, but I've only actually been taking them consistently, sporadically, yes, throughout the last several years, but I've only been taking them consistently every single day without fail for 5 weeks now. And I can genuinely say that this is a change I'm very happy to make, and that I'm not a sick person, but I'm feeling benefits from it. And just the benefit of being able to go up the stairs without feeling tired by the time I get to the top, and that my legs are pushing me up instead of my mind dragging me up. That's one big difference. And getting up in the morning is easier. I'm resting well at night. My skin feels great. Everything is up. I just am super sold on them, and I'm so proud of myself for finally making that commitment.
Right. And so, I love your sharing that, because that foundation, you had a lot of the other pieces in place already, and you were giving your body good foods. And adding this in has just up leveled your whole wellness. You've mentioned your energy, being able to move more effectively, being able to rest better, and it does just support everything. So I love that. And we talked about, you and I, that our exercise piece is really our next one. I used to have a really strong yoga practice, and my body and my muscles felt very full of integrity and vitality and strength. And, life kind of comes in sideways at you sometimes. And I wound up moving house 4 times in 4 years, 2 of them being cross-country moves. Doing different parts of my life, having some surgeries, taking care of my kids, and exercise kind of just went do. And I'll get to yoga maybe once a week, and I'll do a little here and there. But I noticed my muscles needing more support, my joints struggling a little more because they're not getting that exercise. So that's my area of focus as well. I've been working hard for quite a while on managing stress, learning meditation, processing emotional things, getting the sleep and rest I need. And that piece has gotten really strong. And we've worked on clearing toxins out. So it's nice to be able to look at this list and see the progress we've made and figure out which one's going to continue to up level. And as I've shared just in this little moment, if I rated myself maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, exercise would have been probably a 9, and I wouldn't have needed to put my energy there. And because I do now, that's perfect, because it's not about like a right or wrong or a good or a bad. It's what does our body need now to do its best and to be supported. And as you can see here, they've given just a couple suggestions of different things that are helpful. The deep blue rub is one that is put in the exercise thing, but we're going to explore that a little further here as we go along. Now, what I love about this guide, and as you walk yourself through your wellness consult, or you help other people do that as a wellness advocate, you can just kind of let them know that these are color-coded to go along with these. So as you see, the Eat Right, this page is all kind of highlighted with green. And they show you some different aspects of ways that you can support that cellular nutrition. The supplements, the food, the green smoothie, the water, the habits, right? So keep in mind that wellness is more than just adding a supplement or adding an oil. There are lots of different ways for us to support these different pieces. We're going to move on here to exercise, because this is where Christine and I are focusing. Maybe you're with us, and that's awesome. So here it's the same color again, the orange, and they've offered some different areas that are helpful to support this movement and supporting our body having energy and flow and becoming stronger, more flexible. So we have this healthy weight plan over on the left here with the Slim and Sassy line. We've done a whole webinar on this before, and you can go and find that on our YouTube channel. And healthy weight management is related to exercise, because if we are having added weight or maybe just tightness and we haven't moved for a while, it can be hard to get going. And the Slim and Sassy blend is really beautiful for energizing and breathing it in. I remember Dominique, who's one of our South African friends, she said after she had her baby, she was exhausted. She was, a mother at an older age, and she wanted to be able to have energy to play with her son and to take care of her son, but she was exhausted. And she found Slim and Sassy. She also had that mama postpartum weight that she just wasn't feeling like she was able to shake. And she said having one drop of it in her water and smelling it throughout the day gave her this zing of energy. It helped like start her metabolism again. And as she had more energy, she was able to move more. So yay for that. And I appreciate Slim and Sassy for kind of stabilizing my blood sugar, energizing me to get me going and moving again. Over on the right-hand side, there's a couple wellness habits, one being 30 minutes of daily movement. So I love that they say movement versus exercise, because I think just as Christine shared about pills being kind of a mental block, that pills are for people who are sick. I think sometimes people say exercise is for athletes, and exercise is hard, and exercise is something I don't want to do. But movement can be fun, it can be dance, it can be walking, it can be playing, it can be jumping on a trampoline with your child, which, by the way, is really good for the pelvic floor, just saying. And you can have fun with it. You can go bike riding, you can go paddle boarding, you can do all sorts of different things that count for movement. So I want you to kind of expand your idea of how you can support this rung of your wellness, instead of saying, I have to have a gym membership and I have to go here, I have to go to yoga 5 days a week for an hour and a half. Every day when we find a new way to move, maybe we're going up and down the stairs and racing our kids, or just cleaning the house or decluttering, like that's movement too, right? So giving yourself permission to embrace and expand your view of what good movement could be. So that's one. And then practicing yoga is, I'm so glad Chris is going to join me in this, and it's going to help me be more accountable as well, and as well as the yoga teacher training I'm going to take, which is going to force me to do more practice every day, which is awesome. What I found in doing yoga is that not only did it help me become more flexible, it actually helped me become friends with my body. It helped me pay attention to what my body was telling me in any given moment on the mat. It helped me notice for the first time ever where I was holding tightness, where I was out of balance, and not force it to happen, but to allow it to slowly open and get the attention it needs. So yoga can have a lot of really amazing benefits, including strengthening our bodies and our joints and our core. So lots of goodness there. And you can go to a yoga studio, which is awesome because you have somebody talking you through it. Sometimes they'll do a physical adjustment. You've got other people around, so you don't get up and walk off your mat when you get bored or frustrated. And if you can't get out all the time, there's a bazillion YouTube videos on yoga, and all you need is a piece of floor. I mean, no other things. You can have a yoga mat or a towel. You can do it on vacation. You can do a 5 or 10 minute yoga flow in the morning to get things going, and it really supports the whole body. So let's talk a little bit. Chris, I'd love to hear you share some about some of these different doTERRA products that really can support us as we are picking up our movement practice. Now, while you're sharing, I'm going to run real quickly to the restroom because I did my hydration, and I will rejoin you. And then I'll have to hear what you said by watching. But go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. First, let's start with the Deep Blue Soothing Blend, which is amazing either before your workout or definitely after. It does help to give your body a healthy inflammatory response, with minor aches and pains that you get for while you're exercising, to make it so that you're not pushing yourself too far, but you're just a little bit more comfortable in the moment when you are stretching and using your muscles. But afterward, it's really wonderful, because then it helps with those aches and pains that can come in afterward that can kind of discourage you from going back and doing again what you know you should do, but it just doesn't feel great because you're sore. And I really love using the Deep Blue Soothing Blend also for bumps and bruises and just everyday mishaps. The Deep Blue is wonderful for soothing soreness, aches, and pains. The Mito 2 Max is an energy supplement, really so much healthier than those yucky energy drinks that have all kinds of questionable ingredients. 1 capsule in the morning and 1 capsule at lunch. People don't usually take it in the evening because it does tend to cause a little bit of sleep issues for some people, but morning and midday, it's great to give yourself a little bit of a natural energy boost. Also promotes healthy circulation in the body. The Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex are amazing. They are wonderful for naturally supporting our body's inflammation response, so that you can help to reduce that, so that it doesn't get in the way of you getting the exercise you need. Or if you do have some more aches and pains, again, it's really a wonderful substitution for other chemical tablets that you could take. You can either take 1 at a time if you're doing it on an ongoing basis, or if you're using it for a specific need, a specific ache and pain, then you can actually take 2 at a time when you need that extra support. doTERRA Breathe. That is an incredible oil. It was the oil that brought me into doTERRA and really has been a life changer for me and my family. It opens the airways. It promotes oxygenization. So before you exercise, or if you find yourself huffing and puffing, really helps to be able to breathe better, supply your body with the oxygen that it desperately needs when you're exercising. So a little bit between your hands. I like to use my fingers out so that I don't end up touching it to my eyes. That peppermint is not really a good mix with the eyes. So just putting a little bit on my hands, breathing it in. You can use a little bit of carrier oil and then rub it on your chest. It also comes in a stick, which is like an all natural, no petroleum Vicks kind of thing, but just so much more of an improvement because it doesn't have that petroleum in it or the other questionable ingredients. So you can use that as a chest rub, and it's really supportive for hiking, walking, as well as deep exercise. And then the Slim and Sassy Trim Shake is delicious. Vanilla chocolate. Does it still come in orange?
I think that's a special one that they offer sometimes.
Okay, so it may or may not come in an orange sometimes, which is really yummy, but the vanilla and the chocolate are amazing. You can add a little bit of wild orange or mint or whatever you like. I love to put in some berries in mine. And then you'd make it together with either a dairy or non-dairy fat so that you can use that together to help for the ingredients to work best for your body. Do you have anything to add about that?
I do. Just one thing on the Breathe and the Trim Shake. Breathe or peppermint, the peppermint in the Breathe actually it's been studied to oxygenate the blood about 20%. So, and many people, I know a lot of families whose kids struggle with what they call exercise-induced asthma, so that tightening in the lungs. So by applying it beforehand, you're allowing the body and the cells and the muscles to have more oxygen to work with, which is really very important in exercise and makes it easier to do. And I know that the Deep Blue has been really helpful for me to relieve aches and pains so that I can enjoy my exercise more. And I know that athletes sometimes will apply it beforehand and afterwards. So you can do it to help stimulate the blood flow, which you may have already mentioned, and then afterwards for recovery. One ingredient that I want to point out in the Slim and Sassy Trim Shake is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an Ayurvedic adaptogen, and for those of us, I mentioned my friend Dom, who was a postpartum mama, those of us who have gone through stressful periods in our lives or just been working hard with our kids and families for a long time and are experiencing like adrenal tiredness and just feeling depleted. Ashwagandha is an amazing tonic for our adrenal glands and supporting healthy energy. It's not like adding caffeine where you're just like coursing adrenaline through your body, but it's actually supporting your adrenal system to function more effectively so that you feel and have more natural energy and vitality. So it's really nice that they have that in the trim shake so that as you're giving your body that foundational nutrition, and you're supporting it in a form that's easy to do on the go when you're walking or on the way to the gym or whatever, you can have that added benefit. So let's go on to our next page. We're going to move through as quickly as we can because you have this to come back to at any time. And when I share this with a new customer and I want to help them create a plan, I don't go through every single thing on every single page in our wellness session because that's overwhelming and because we don't need to do everything all at once. Chris and I are focusing on the exercise. So that's the page that we would spend the most time on. How can we like kind of create a plan and use these things to help us move more effectively, recover better, have the energy to do so. Here we're looking at resting and managing stress. We have different options, different ways to help get better sleep. We have some information about the beginnings of learning to manage our emotions. And I just point that out to people as we move through. If their focus is exercise, yes, and we have things to support resting and managing stress. Here's our reducing toxic load. I let people know that we do have a detox cleanse. And if our toxic load is our top priority, this is something that we're really going to want to focus on and maybe not focus on all the other areas at the same time because this is work for our body and we want to support it to be able to do that work. As we talked about in our previous webinar on the skincare and on personal care, by replacing things from that we've had access to for years that have toxins in them, we can put the natural things in and help reduce our toxic load. Next one, informed self-care, just knowing that we can have things on hand when we have boo-boos, when we have other issues. And I love this page. When I do wellness consults with people, this is a page that really gives light bulbs to people to help them understand how to look at all the things doTERRA has to offer and figure out where to start, because we are a whole body made up of different systems, and these systems can cause symptoms if they're struggling, right? So if our organs of elimination, are, like our liver and our digestive system, are not functioning well, we can actually have skin issues like eruptions and things because our body's trying to process and clear things out. So in this section, you can look at targeted support. So if my lungs struggle when I exercise, I'm going to want to look at the respiratory system. And here are suggestions of different oils that you can use, you can diffuse, you can apply topically. They all have different benefits, and it's a great place to start if we want to support the respiratory system. Chris, is there a system here that you feel like is a useful one for you right now?
Yeah. So many of them. The digestive system support is always really amazing because you never know when that will, I've been doing a lot of traveling lately.
Yeah,
and so I've been really appreciating the Terrazyme in particular. Taking one of those with every meal has really helped tremendously for me through a lot of adventurous eating and some not so great choices. So that's wonderful. And then of course, DigestZen is a favorite always to have on hand. You never know when you'll need it, but you're always glad you do.
Right. So I love that doTERRA and in this Live Guide gives us a place to start. So if you're sitting down, because this is a business training, if you're sitting down with someone who wants to get started with oils, wants to change their wellness, and you're not an expert in you know, physiology or holistic health, you can use this to help them become empowered to know where to start. What system do we want to support first? And make some choices from this list. Now, I love, love, love this page because again, you can see we've got the different categories that build that wellness pyramid from the foundation of eating right all the way over through targeted support. And so you can check off things that you're already using. You can check off things that you're like, I definitely want this, or, you know, do that for the person you're working with. And you can also say, I want to learn more about these things, and circle them so that throughout the month and throughout the months ahead, you can say, okay, I've worked on my exercise. I've up-leveled using Mida to Max because I need more energy so I can get my butt up in the morning and do that exercise. Or I'm using that Slim and Sassy to kind of energize me. So those are my things that I'm doing. And I want to look at something else in there, right? Or I'm looking at the informed self-care and, oh yeah, what are these Copaiba soft gels and how can they help? Let me circle that and learn more. What I love when I sit down with someone is I guide them through the idea of this, but I am not a diagnostician. I do not have a license to be a medical person to prescribe things. I explain to them what these different categories are, and I say, what do you think is going to best serve you as a place to start? What do you want to learn more about? And I have them check the boxes for them. And that really keeps us in integrity with what we have to offer. As a wellness advocate, we are sitting with them to help empower them. We are not their doctor, and we don't tell them what they need and how much they need. We give suggestions from our experience and others' experience, but we allow them to be the empowered one. And we also invite them to talk to their wellness team. Maybe they have a chiropractor, a nutritionist, maybe they're talking to a therapist, maybe they're working with an acupuncturist or a naturopath. And we invite them to go talk with those people about, you know, which system needs more support and where a good place to begin would be. And to know that these are all safe and that these are all going to be supportive for their bodies. One thing I want to point out down here, the bottom is a really fun thing that doTERRA's done to make it easy for people who are like, you know what, I just know, like, rest and manage stress is a big issue for me. I need to hit it hard. I just want a package that's going to help me in this area. Down at the bottom, I'm going to try to get there. They have this little kit for each, and these are LRP kits. So as their members, they have access to this. It's a little discounted. It's put together already, so they don't have to pick and choose and figure. It reduces confusion, and that reduces stress. And when we reduce confusion, we make decisions to move forward in our health and wellness. So if they're looking for that foundational health where you're like, you know what, get the Daily Habits Kit. It's a great place to start. Or the Calm and Harmony Kit, if they're looking to reduce stress in their home and in their life, it's a great place to start. Over here in the Toxic Load, we have Cleanse and Restore. Immune Support is a great place if you're targeting your wellness. And then going back to Christine and our focus area, the Athletes Kit, where we have things to clean our hands, our hand sanitizer, lemongrass, which supports our joints and ligaments, the Mida to Max, the Deep Blue, the Aroma Touch when our muscles might be a little tense and sore. Chris, do you have anything you want to add on this page and how you would use it to help someone new?
No, I just think it's just a great way to get conversations going and to really take the time to listen to what the person sees that jumps out at them. All these pictures and options are, you know, if you're talking about them, they can be overwhelming when presented, but in this photograph form, it's just really nice to just take the chance to really listen to what the person has for their need, and to use this as an easy way to open that conversation up.
Absolutely.
To give them more options.
Absolutely. And I do think just that reminder that they don't need to get everything in order to make a benefit. They can start with one, and maybe over the next 3 months, they're working in that one area and adding a piece at a time of it. And I was going to say something else about that. Also, like you said, just listening, because I think sometimes we might think, well, this is the most important one. You need to start with the eating right. But if they're feeling that the stress or the toxins or a particular issue or their weakened immune system is highest priority, people are going to be motivated by what they feel the most difficulty in or what they feel will relieve them the most. And we need to empower them to make those decisions instead of telling them, which is the old model, like the patriarchy model of the doctor tells you what you need, right? We're teaching people to tune in and identify what they need for themselves and to trust it. So I love this page, and I always bring people to this when we do a wellness consult. In fact, oftentimes I'll start at this page and then we'll flip back through so that we can choose what we want to put on there, and we'll add things to it as we go. So let me orient you a little to this. I love this getting started side, and so many people, when they see this page, they're like, oh, there's like a little like cheat sheet for each oil and what it would be beneficial for. And I remind people when we do a wellness consult, like, this is your wish list. This is not, I'm committing to buy these things. So I want them to be very free to look through this list. And if a word like if a word sticks out to them, for example, if I'm looking here and I'm like, oh, digestive support. Oh, well, fennel. Okay, I'm going to circle that. Coriander. Huh. All right. Ginger. Oh, good. All these things. So, oh, and green mandarin. They all support digestive health. So I'll have them circle or put an X on there and then teach them to go learn more about those different oils through an app or through the books or even on doTERRA's website, and then to begin to choose which ones they want to start with and how they want to use it. But to feel free to like circle and find as many things as they're going to want to get to over time. So on this wellness consult page, and again, we're going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm going to go back to this one. I just really want you to feel comfortable. You do not have to be a holistic health coach or certified to walk yourself or someone else through this. So we're going to write down maybe the essential oil book or app that they're going to use to learn more. We're going to ask them what their top 3 health priorities are. So for me, reducing aches and pains maybe is one, or having more energy is another. And all of these are kind of tied in with, or having more strength, so tied in with the exercise piece. And then I can put down the things I already have. And I love to do this with people to remind them that the things they purchased when they originally started with their oils are solutions that they can use, that we're not just here to sell them more stuff, but we're here to help them use what they have. And so I love to put down, oh, you already have frankincense. You already have deep blue. Use them for your aches and pains. And then this daily wellness plan, it took me a little while to figure out how to effectively use it, but it is super helpful for people, especially people who are brand new to caring for themselves in a more intentional way, to help them look, all right, here's my health goal 1, health goal 2, health goal 3. I'll often write on the side like less aches, more energy, more strength. And then in the morning, what's going to support me in that? Taking the Miter to max. In the evening, what's going to help me with that? Well, taking a bath with deep blue and frankincense to reduce those aches. So we'll put what they're going to use and how they're going to use it here. And then I remind them that this little daily wellness habit is a good foundation for everyone. And most of the time we've already talked about using these things, and they can just check off, oh, right, I am doing that in the morning. I am doing that at noon. And they can post this up so that they can remember the things that they're working on. I love to encourage people to do number 3, and things that we talk about, because as a wellness advocate, I really want to encourage you, if you're building a doTERRA business authentically, you are helping people holistically. That means not just saying this oil, this supplement, that supplement, but you're saying drinking water. You can add an oil, hydration. So putting down the things that are going to be helpful for them, and the things that they talk about that they know are going to make a big difference. If they're reducing stress, like 5 minutes of meditation, have them write down what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. The final piece of this that I love is creating a monthly LRP. And I do this as we're going along. We'll talk about the exercise stuff and be like, oh, you know, I'm almost out of Mito to Max. So month 1, I'll put what month it is that's coming up, and I'll write down the things. Maybe it's the athlete's kit. I just want to get the whole thing. So write the athlete's kit down. Month 2, I'm going to focus on my digestion. So I'm going to put down whatever tools and resources that they've talked about that they're going to add in. And I love, love, love that doTERRA is not about like upselling people to buy a whole bunch of stuff all at once, but really breaking it down. And I'll tell people, don't get it all at once. What are we going to focus on this month so that you really learn to use it and integrate it into your body, integrate it into your life, and then let's target that next goal the second month. And that really helps build trust, because they understand that we're not trying to get them to buy more right now, that we want them to really know how to use it and not overwhelm anyone. So Chris, do you have anything you want to add to this part of the wellness consult?
No, that was great. That's just exactly what I do as well.
Awesome. This loyalty rewards page, I love to point this out to people, and I love them to have a hard copy of this. If somebody lives far away, we might do this virtually like we're showing you now, but I'll also mail them a copy of the Live Guide so that they have this. And I'll remind them, I usually don't read through all of this because people can read. I usually point it out to them and say, just take note here that if you buy the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which comes as a kit, it is very significantly discounted, and doTERRA wants to support you even more, so you can add these other ones at a discounted rate. I particularly like to point people to the Deep Blue polyphenols, which I think are phenomenal, and they are so much more expensive if you buy them individually. But if you buy them with a Lifelong Vitality Pack, you get it for a significant discount. So it's really good to let people know that. I also point out this little chart at the bottom, because it shows people, like Christine had shared in her last call about LRP, what you get for each amount of money you're spending. You don't have to buy a minimum, you just have to buy something. It could be chapstick. But the more that you purchase, you have some different benchmarks where you get added benefits, and they're listed here along with all the questions that they might have and how to answer them. I also like to remind people that there are some important things to remember about essential oil safety, and how to use them most effectively. And if it's somebody brand new and they seem really anxious, I might go through this step by step. Otherwise, I'll just encourage them to read it, and I'll point a few things out. One safety tip I want to point out to all our builders here, and any customers as well, is this avoid sun exposure. And it's going into the winter season here, and I still need to let everyone know, when you go on vacation and you're out in the sun, when you have people who live in sunnier climates and you are encouraging them to use oils, or maybe they're going to a tanning salon. I've never been, I don't get it, but some people do. Bergamot in particular can and will give people burns. And I have had three different people who have used oils for a long time, who know that this is photosensitive, who have either shared with somebody to use it in an area of skin that saw sun, or have used it themselves, like here, for emotional support, and had a chemical burn that was significant. Do not use bergamot in topical places that are going to see the sun. Use it on the bottom of your feet, use it aromatically, use it on covered parts of your body. And please, when you teach people about essential oils, let them know that citrus oils can be photosensitive and bergamot is phototoxic. It's on our bottles, so it's there's a warning. And many times we just forget, especially if we're used to using oils topically and we love using oils topically and it feels good and it smells good and we're just not thinking. So I think that that's super important, especially because it can be a surprise and you can think like, what's wrong with this oil? Or I've not been taught and we're put into like a not good situation for our bodies. Please make sure that you help people understand these things. Anything you want to add about this? Oh, you're muted. Let me unmute you.
Sorry, my computer was making noises, so I turned it off. Just that this is just such a great opportunity to mention safety and to let them know that that is something that we want to be sure that they are completely satisfied. And just some basic safety tips are really important for everyone getting started.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, at the last page in our live guide, sorry, I'm like trying to make my screen do what it's supposed to. It's freezing up a little bit. Is learn more. I like to put the members' number and password on the back for them. I created stickers to make it easy for my contact info. There may be a little team that I have them put on to let them know about our Facebook groups, our YouTube channels, so that people can access the continued education and support that we love to offer. It's also great to let them know all these beautiful things that doTERRA has created and that others in our community have created to empower them to not just have this little guide, which is a fantastic place to start, but to have places they can go to continue to learn more. And down at the bottom, just a reminder that as they fall in love with these oils, they can share very easily, and that we're here to help them help others get started as well, because it just ripples out. And when I shared with Christine and she went home and helped her daughter, it just set a cascade into effect where she had this aha. And because it changed her life and her family, she's gone out and touched so many lives in our community, and that's just continuing to go forward. So especially when you're working with new people, just plant the seed to let them know that when things start working for them, that they can freely share with others, and that we can help them if they want to earn some, or if they just want to be supported in helping their friends get started. And that can help our businesses grow. And people are happy to do that. So that's a bit about living well and helping others do so. Thanks for joining us here. Christine, anything you want to add in doing the live well kind of thing with a new customer or even for yourself?
Two quick things that I always try before I go into a wellness consult or a lifestyle overview, whatever you want to call it for yourself. I always like to really set my intention before I go in, before I meet with the person, and remind myself what my true intent is, which is to help them in any way I can and to listen, because we are so excited about these products. I know for myself, it's very difficult to not just machine gun them with just, this is great, this is great, this is great, you need this, you need that. And it isn't really serving them if that's how we present it. It's really important to listen and to remember that we are there to serve their needs and meet them at their level, and really kind of follow their body language, their cues that tell us where they're comfortable, what they're comfortable talking about at that time, and just to be really sensitive and aware of that and remind ourselves that we're there to serve others. And one more thing that I really have benefited from in the past, that's listening to Laura Jacobs' recording of Wellness Consult. And in 20 minutes, she goes through every single thing. And the little tidbits you can pick up from an expert like Laura are really, really helpful. So I think in the comments, we'll go ahead and post a link to that. But if you go on Google or any other preferred search engine and you put in doTERRA Lifestyle Overview and you add the words Laura Jacobs, you'll get hers is 19 minutes and 38 seconds. So it's less than half as long as this presentation, and you get a lot of really great information. So if you ever need a reminder before you're going to meet with someone, just take a listen to her tips, because she's an amazing professional and I really love learning from her too.
Love that. Thank you. One thing I also want to just share with builders is that this lifestyle overview wellness consult is something that is really wonderful to offer to our new members, like after they've gotten their oils, because I've had and seen, and actually just recently talked to someone who bought oils 3 years ago, not from me, but from someone else, and they have a diffuser they have never opened. So sad. So encouraging people to get together for this and sending them the wellness consult so that they can even start doing it on their own is wonderful. And we all have customers who maybe have been using oils for a while. Maybe they bought once and then they haven't, or they've used those oils but just haven't purchased. You can offer wellness consults to your members, your customers. It is part, what I tell people is, this is part of your membership benefit for being a wholesale customer. It's my coming alongside you, sharing what I know, and supporting you in becoming more empowered. And I find that when I'm physically struggling, or I'm trying to figure out what to do, going back and doing it for myself can be really helpful and insightful. Like, oh, hadn't thought about that, right? Because we have our go-to things. So it's good to do for yourself, like on a maintenance basis every couple months, but also reach out to people who you've shared with, customers that you have. Do an annual wellness consult for your members who are using their oils, and give them a little gift of thank you for being loyal. And let's do a wellness consult to make sure that you're targeting what's new in your life as opposed to just what you knew last year. So it's a nice way to just continue to support people and thank them for investing in their own wellness and for entrusting their resources to you as your member. So I wanted to share that little tip, and I hope that this has been helpful to all of you. And Christine, thank you for joining me with this, and I look forward to exercising with you together on a regular basis.
I do too. Thanks, Dawn.
Have a great week, everybody.